I would like to call this meeting to order March 18th, 2015 at 7:20. Would you please rise to join in Councilman Salaries in the invocation.
Dear Lord, please protect our family members and friends. Please keep them safe and healthy so they may continue to make memories with all those that they have touched in their lives. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, all. Thank you for your patience. Will you call the roll, please?
Adams.
Here.
Jones. Here. Sephardi.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Here.
Turjansky.
Here.
Agee. Here. Albers.
Here. There's no addendum this evening, but we do have minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the work session on January 26th, 2015, of the regular council meeting on March 4th, 2015, and the special meeting on March 11th, 2015, plus the work session meetings that we had for 2014. That's quite a bit of catching up. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Madam Chair.
I am sorry, March 4th was an amended meeting, council minutes. Mr. Councilman Brownlee?
Yes, Madam Chair. Regarding the approval of the minutes listed, I looked over the work sessions, and these are not minutes. These are merely a recording of who showed up and a version of the agenda in sentence form. There's not anything approaching a description of the deliberations that were had, the discussion that was had at these meetings. This gives no more information than if you had an agenda that you could read in prose form. You would not learn anything new from these minutes. These are not satisfactory according to the Ohio Sunshine laws. So therefore, we cannot approve these minutes as they stand. They're not minutes. They're merely a roll call and a listing of the agenda items, which does not qualify under the Sunshine laws as appropriate minutes for a meeting.
Well, I would like a motion, please, to approve.
Mr. Adams and Mr. Turjansky.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. May I have a roll call, please?
Adams.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Sephardi.
Present.
Jackson.
Present.
Brownlee.
No.
Turjansky.
Yes.
Agee. Present. 1, 2, 3. I have 3 yes, 3 present, 1 no. Aye, I guess.
At this moment in time, I would like to break the tie.
And vote, how would you like?
Yes.
There is not a point of order. Could we have the roll call read, please?
Mr. Adam voted yes. Ms. Jones voted yes. Mr. Sephardi voted present. Mr. Jackson voted present. Mr. Brownlee voted no. Mr. Turjansky voted yes. Ms. Agee voted present. So that is 3 votes present, 3 votes yes, 1 vote no. The presents do not count. So actually it's 3 to 1.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
You need a majority, you don't have a majority.
that's a simple.
Are there any communications this evening?
No.
Okay. There's one committee report, which was the Committee of the Whole meeting, which we had on March 11th, 2015. And that was the meeting that we held before our council meeting with the auditors being present. All of council was present, including all the department heads and the mayor. The folks from the auditor's office presented all of the conditions that were present in order to put us in fiscal emergency. And they also talked a little bit about the formation of the oversight committee and answered questions from the council. And with that, we moved on to the department reports. Fire Department, Chief Evelyn's.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fire Department calls today to 1,034. Work continues to switch to Fire Department dispatch to the new SCCC Center. We are currently working to formulate new operational guidelines, and also will be incorporating the City of Garfield Heights into our automatic fire response. We are scheduling radios to be installed in the apparatus in the next week or so. The cities of Bedford and Bedford Heights will be switched over to the new center tomorrow, the 19th. The cities of Maple Heights and Garfield Heights will be switching over on June 2nd. We will keep you up to date on our transition as well as other dispatch information as it becomes available. Thank you on the report.
Thank you, Chief. Law Department, Mr. Montello.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just, I would point out to the public here that this budget is $3,127,625 cheaper than, or less than it was last year. So we've made significant cuts, and I'd like to thank all the department heads for their efforts in this regard. I mean, I know we're talking about, looking at some other numbers more closely to see what they are, but that's quite a significant reduction. So I just want to point that out, because I'm not sure if everybody has a copy of this here. So it's actually $3,100,000 cheaper than last year. So just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Police Department, Chief Pavlovich.
Demoted again, 2 weeks in a row. You know something I don't?
I didn't.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the total of the year, the police department has responded to 4,405 calls for service. In the last 48 hours, we have had 6 incidents involving weapon offenses, specifically drive-by shootings, along with 1 young man shot up on Watson. 3 of these seem to be related to one particular address over on Camden, as Councilman Krzajanski is aware. We had another incident. We had the incident on Watson where an individual was actually shot. And he's recovering in the hospital. We had another incident yesterday afternoon in front of the Giant Eagle over there at the strip shop mall there across the street, where someone shot into a motor vehicle. And we also had an incident today. We had one last night as well, but then we also had an incident today, just prior to the council meeting on Maple Heights Boulevard, where someone fired 6 rounds into the house. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. One of the things that is clear in all these is, one, the Detective Bureau is working these cases. However, there's not a whole lot of information available to us. We have some vague suspect descriptions. We have some vague information. Our witnesses are somewhat less than cooperative to begin with in relation to a lot of these, and we continue to work it, but obviously something is going on. If you have information, or if you see anything, or someone knows anything, please call the police department, 216-662-1234. You can remain anonymous. We're looking for any leads into these investigations. Like I said, we do have some, in at least 2 of them, but any help you could provide to us would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I end my report.
Thank you, Chief. Human Services Department, Mrs. Bopan.
Thank you, Madam President. We too at the Senior Center can feel what's going on with the police department, in that our transportation coordinator, Bernard Bell, his son was killed in Cleveland last week, and he was one of the shootings that happened over the weekend, where there were 3 or 4 shootings, and his son lost his life. He was 26 years old, and our sympathies go out to the Bell family, and it's just very sad, and we hope things turn around everywhere. I wanted to thank all of you who participated in the Bob Evans fundraiser. I saw many of you at the restaurant when we were there. We took several of the seniors. The 15% plus donations that we received from other people who weren't able to attend brings the total up to around $400. So we, small amounts, but all of them, as the finance director tells me, all of them add up to move us forward in the department. So if you donated, if you went to the restaurant, we just thank you very much. Bob Evans tells me that the Beechwood store, that was their best fundraiser, community fundraiser. 93 people came with forms from Maple Heights to support us, and we're very thankful for that. We want to welcome tonight, and I'm going to call your attention to the young people on the other side of the room. I thought they were only Girl Scouts, but it looks like we've got Boy Scouts over there. Is that correct? Are you all from St. Martin's? No? Where are you from?
From St. Monica's.
St. Monica's. The Boy Scouts and the girls are from St. Martin's. Is that correct? Okay. They are here, ladies and gentlemen of City Council, to observe you and to see how government in their community works. And so we welcome you. We hope you enjoy your time here. Come back anytime. And the rest of you, if you want to stop by and buy some cookies to support the Girl Scouts, we'd be very happy to have you do that. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you, Mrs. Bocek. Finance Department, Mrs. Kroll.
I have nothing additional this evening, thank you.
Now it's your turn. You're welcome to come up to the podium if you have a comment, a suggestion, whatever you'd like to share with us. We need your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Alfreda Aberdeen,
Want to turn it on?
Is this on now?
You know what, we're going to switch mics. I don't think that's correct. Thanks, Chief.
First of all, I'd like to say that I think our city did a terrific job during this winter. With the equipment we had, with the personnel we had in the service department, I think they did a fantastic job. And I just had to tell them that.
Thank you.
My granddaughter was in an accident maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago in front of Clifton Steel. One car going west hit 3 cars going east. Thankfully, only one person was injured a little. But the police and fire were there, mess on the streets, work traffic coming home. 0 weather. I thought it was fantastic. Next is Mr. Separati. He said at the last meeting that he liked the people's opinion on the ordinance that Mr. Brownlee has submitted. If I was sitting up on council, I would vote no. You council people deserve every penny you get. I could remember when council salaries was $2,000 and $3,000. That's how far back I go. So the salary of $10,000 or $12,000 now, in this day and age, and our times, is nothing. $37,000 is $37,000. But in a couple of $1 million budget, or how much ever it is, it's a drop in the bucket. You're on call all the time. And it's a thankless job. And one other thing, and I think I forgot what it was. But also, I really don't like present votes. You're either for or against. But let's come up with a better ordinance, Mr. Brownlee, to help our city and everybody here, the people, the residents. Help your city. It is your home. It is your investment. It is up to us. There is no windfall coming. Knuckle down and give up one movie a month fingernail manicures once a month, a dinner out once a month. It's not that much. Put another levy on, and let's get this city back on track. Thank you.
Angela Madden, 5555 Garden Street. I have several concerns. One is, I agree with the lady that was just up. Salaries, you do deserve what you get. But what I pulled up online trying to see what the salaries are. I mean, you have a range, so I can't say you deserve more or you deserve less, because I have no idea what you make. Also, demo of the homes. If possible, I went to the law office today to see if I can get a list of those homes to be demoed. So that way we can look and see if it's necessary to demo those homes. Also, the financial report. Is the city or the citizens, are we able to get a report to see what the financial report is? Is it only tribute to the council? Are we able to get that? Okay, I appreciate that. One more thing. I went to city council, to Maple Heights a couple times this week. I have an issue with trash. It's absolutely horrible. There's no reason for trash to be out for several days. And I brought pictures so council can see it. There has been trash piled up, even it went out into the street, and still no pickup. Sunday, there was 2 areas. I gave them the addresses. Sunday, trash was out. Pickup isn't on Sunday. That area is not on Monday. It's not on Tuesday. So I don't understand why we have to live in an area that constantly seeing trash on the street like this. If we want pride in our city, then we should have to look at this.
All right.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. And I would love to share this with you to see. And it's still out there. The rubbish man refused to pick it up because it's too much. And we shouldn't live like this. You want us to be pride and pay our taxes? There's no way I should have to pay taxes and look at this. It's ridiculous.
Moving on to the legislation, please.
Ordinance number 2015-08, an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Maple Heights, State of Ohio, for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2015, and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance is on its second reading.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bromley?
Yes. I had a question regarding some of the expenditures listed in here. On page 7 of the appropriations, we have listed at the top professional services within the legal department at a sum of $27,000. And I was wondering what that amount is for. $27,000 of professional services within the legal department. Page 7 at the top.
Continuing education.
Yeah, the 4th one down is professional services.
I could answer that, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, John.
I think that's, we have an independent labor attorney that helps us with the labor negotiations, and also, oops. We have an independent labor attorney. I'm not turning on it. Hi, Jeff. I'm a low tech guy, so I have my flip phone here. But anyway, it's probably from our labor council and also any other lawsuits that we may have to defend this year. But so it's just an estimate. We're almost done with negotiations. Well, we have, well, I should say almost done. We have the police, which is a major, negotiations. So that's hopefully we're not going to spend that much money, and even with those other lawsuits that are pending that you're aware of, and especially Mr. Brown should be aware of. But hopefully we won't spend that much. Hopefully, but who knows?
Thank you.
Hopefully we're going to agree.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Jackson?
I think this one question plus all the questions that was asked during caucus only leads me to again reiterate that I think we need to have a budget meeting outside of this council meeting before this third reading is going to have to come up next week. Next week. I don't think we can do this via email, and I'd like to know what my other council people feel about that.
I agree.
I have nothing against another meeting. Maybe we should, Jackie, President.
Okay. Okay, do we have any other comments here? Okay, move on, please.
Ordinance number 2015-09, an ordinance amending section 260.27, reducing the salaries of the mayor, council president, and members of council for the next term commencing January 1st, 2016 in the city of Maple Heights.
This ordinance is on its third reading. May I have a motion for adoption, please?
So moved.
Second?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion to adopt as the introducer of this legislation.
Mr. Adams has already done that. Would you like to second it?
Madam Chair, it's appropriate in parliamentary procedure to give those who introduced it to make the motion to pass it. If you would read that, you would know.
Mr. Brownlee, you wait until someone else pops up and does the motion, and then you interrupt and want to change it? I'm sorry.
That's
You're
right,
welcome to
Madam Chair.
second it. You're welcome to second it. Mr. Adams has already provided the adoption.
Well, I sure hope you'll let me speak to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Who would like to second this, please?
I'd like to second it.
He's going to second. And your discussion, please, council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As was mentioned 2 weeks ago when this was introduced to council, there are plentiful reasons in order to do this. To quote Cleveland.com's article that they published on Monday in conjunction with Sunshine Week, they were discussing how the mayor's salary is set. And they said there's no statute declaring how you set it. There's no governing body. There's no rules about setting it. So council members, they said, must weigh the city's budget, the cost of living, and the responsibilities and time commitment of the post. So it's a determination from city to city made by the council of that city in light of the financial situation, in light of the city in which the work is being done. The average median, or the average income for a household in Maple Heights is $37,000. There are mayors presiding over much larger budgets than ours that are making far less than our mayor. And they aren't in the financial fix that we are, yet they pay their mayors and even their council members less than we pay ours. If we're serious about setting things right, then we must be willing to make sacrifices to right the ship. This is a decision that lays with council. I presented a breakdown of municipalities in our area, what they pay their elected officials. And you would find that the average is only a little bit higher than what we would set ours to. But are we an average community? No, we're below the average. So it only makes sense that we'd be a little bit below the average in our compensation. But I think the thing that's staring us right in the face is our financial situation. It was said $37,000 is a drop in the bucket. That's laughable. $37,000 in no way is a drop in the bucket. $37,000 would get us well on the way to providing for another building inspector to ensure that we have things like whether people have trash on their street at their inappropriate time, whether they have their house painted, whether they have shingles falling off their roof. We would have personnel to handle that. $37,000 is far from a drop in the bucket. What we need is vision for what we're going to use our money for, not how we're going to keep the status quo. That's what most of these discussions revolve around here at this table, is how are we going to maintain the status quo? We've always done things this way. How do we keep doing them this way? Really? This is the 21st century. Is that the way to go about business? How do we keep the status quo? Not at all. This city has hard choices to make. If we are going to recover, and move forward, like get better as a city, that's what I'm talking about, getting better as a city, we're going to have to make hard choices now that will pay off in the future. We're going to have to plan for not this year, but 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. How are we going to bring in business? How are we going to diversify our tax base? By increasing taxes? Oh, that's going to solve it, right? No. How are we going to maintain our housing stock? By cutting the building department? No. We have to make sacrifices in certain areas so that we can do the things that most need to be done. This legislation is in perfect alignment with that ideal. That is the ideal that will rescue this city. Don't be fooled. If we balance the budget in 2015, we haven't gotten anywhere. The housing stock will continue to decline. Businesses will continue to leave if we maintain the status quo. We have to make sacrifices now and make hard decisions right now in order to save this, to move this city forward, not this year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. This is one way to do it. And if anyone sits up here and says, I'm worth 12, good. Remember that. Remember that. Maybe you can elect someone who thinks they're worth 9. Maybe we need to make some hard choices around here. I'm worth it. Shoot, I think I'm worth it, but that doesn't make a lick of difference. Because I think that I am willing to make the sacrifice in order to see this city move forward.
Madam President,
Councilman Adams?
I wasn't going to make no comments or anything on this argument, on this legislation, but I have to. I was part of the last salary decrease for the mayor. Councilman Joe Shumsky put in legislation. I made a motion to cut the mayor's salary, to raise it $5,000. Council here, Mr. Brownlee, has been through 3 salary decreases in the last few years. So they have been making sacrifices. for this city. And we put a sacrifice on the mayor with that legislation. I don't know if you did any research, but that happened. We had a lot of discussion. So did my residents. We had open meetings. So that's what we came up with, and that wasn't so long ago, Mr. Councilman Brown. So I'm against this. I'm voting no.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Jones.
I just have a comment to make for the audience. If any of you think that we actually take the money as part of a salary to live off of, possibly a small amount of it, but you know how much money we give back to the community? And it's money that's not budgeted in the city budget right now. We donate to the senior center, we donate to the food pantry, we donate to the Boys and Girls Club, or the baseball, whatever the thing is called. Every time a kid needs to go to Columbus or go to a trip, we get solicited, and yeah, we send them $100. We plow people's driveways, and you know what, Mr. Brownlee? I don't know if you keep your money, but I donate most of my money back.
Madam Chairman, just
Go ahead, John.
I mean, to imply that this administration hasn't made a, substantial cuts, it's just, I mean, we've been making decisions for the last 8 years. It's just that you may not be, I'm attributing that you're not aware of it, because you just, we've been making hard choices for years here. I mean, we've been cutting every department. We're down at least 10 officers in the police department. We're down 72 people that have not been rehired. I mean, I don't know how you can say we haven't made hard choices. And again, this budget is down $3 million. I'm not trying to argue with it, but I don't want you to give the impression to these people that we haven't done anything. I mean, most of you know what we have. And I know that, I don't know, obviously we could cut a little bit more here, but people are already complaining about services that we don't have. So, I mean, it's not rightfully so, but we can't, any more cuts in personnel would just be disastrous to the police department and the fire department. And we're down to the bare minimum in every other department. So I don't know what else, what else we could possibly do. But I think the $3 million is quite a savings over the last year. We've been doing this for 8 years ago. End of my comment there.
Madam President,
Mrs. Opeth, go ahead.
I need also to say that this council is, the majority of this council is very, very generous to all the departments in the city. Every time we need something on a regular basis, they're donating, and I'm saying this isn't, they're not donating $5 or $10 or $25. They're donating hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to this department, to the recreation department, and we cut back, as Mr. Montello said, so much here at the senior center and at the pantry, that without the donations from several of you, we would not be able to do what we're doing right now on a day in and day out basis. So I also agree that although, if you look at numbers and you look at what other cities make, and you say, gee, they make less than these folks make, but I would match the generosity of the majority of these people against any of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Opeth.
Madam Chair.
I believe you've already spoken, Mr. Brownlee, so I'd like to move on
Madam
and
Chair,
call it over
there's no
adoption.
restriction on the number of times that you can speak.
I'd like to hear from other people. You've talked at great length, and I think you've presented your platform pretty well.
You can ask if there's anyone else who'd like to speak, then I would like to speak again, Madam Chair.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please, to the point, Mr. Brownlee, if you have something to say, but please not another presentation.
Always, Madam Chair, always.
Not.
Thank you. I think if we could boil down the argument against this, it's one word: donations. Here's a thought. Look at this reduction as a donation. If you're really that soft-hearted, donate $3,000 next year and the year after that to the city of Maple Heights. Get off your high horse, quit playing games, and take a salary reduction because the city needs leaders. Thank you.
Call the roll.
I'm sorry.
All right, AG.
Madam Chair, last council meeting in caucus, I asked you, Councilman Brownlee, let's take a pay cut right now. Why don't you give your paycheck back starting in April through December? And what was your answer?
Why did you ask?
Because you're asking me to take a pay cut.
Do I get to respond to that, Madam Chair?
No, this is not a debate. I think we need to vote, please. But I understand Councilwoman Agee's comment. She's also one of those persons that is always able to respond to a request. Call the roll for adoption, please.
Safrati?
No.
Jackson?
No.
Brownlee?
Yes.
Turjansky?
No.
Agee?
No.
Adams?
No.
Jones?
No.
The ordinance failed by the vote 6 no, 1 yes.
Thank you, Council.